There we go. All right, I am back for our second broadcast today. We just did a coverage of the new Raspberry Pi 3 Model B, which is out. There's a sweet article by Alistair Allen on our blog, blog.hackster.io. All right, so this one is about how to jazz up your own Raspberry Pi tutorials. As you'll notice, I have a Raspberry Pi screen here on my Mac screen, which is magic. It's pure magic. I did an event with Wayne from Google about Android things, and the biggest question he had for me after whipping up this whole demo about Raspberry Pi was, how are you getting the Pi on your screen? And it's with this magical thing called a USB capture HDMI device. Oh dear. It's made by Magewell, and it's just a USB dongle that plugs it into your computer over here and into the HDMI port of the Raspberry Pi over there. And that means that I can stream basically from the Pi directly to my computer. And there's a couple cool things about that. The main thing is that I don't have to like try and position a camera, looking at a monitor, or SSH or VNC into the pipe. All of those things are kind of heavy and dense and difficult to work with. This one is a dream. It just shows up like a regular webcam, and it's fantastic. It's so easy, it's fast, and it doesn't take up any extra processing power on the Raspberry Pi side or on your computer. It's fantastic. So, I've also got a separate keyboard and mouse plugged into the Pi because it's not VNC. I can't control it over that USB connection like I could with VNC, but I think it's still way more convenient and also helps me. I mean, sometimes I'll try and like do things on my computer and like, do things on the wrong keyboard or whatever, but it's honestly totally worth it. So that's tip number one, use a USB HDMI capture device. And I've actually got that pulled up over here. This is the exact one. If you want to check it out, it's magic. It's like $200, I think, if I remember correctly. I bought it a couple years ago, so I'm not sure. It's a little bit spendy, but if you are serious about making tutorials, it's totally worth it. Okay, next up, screenshots. Again, you don't want to be pointing a camera at your Pi, like, or your monitor or whatever. But also, it may not be totally easy or convenient to take the screenshots on your computer up here. Like, what if you are just working with a Pi and a monitor? Then, oh, I should note actually that what I'm streaming to here is just QuickTime. QuickTime Player has a movie recording option, and I've got it set up as a webcam. So this is just a preview. I'm not actually recording in QuickTime right now, but I'm using its movie recording preview to look at that like an extra monitor. Okay, so yeah, screenshots. So there's this utility that's kind of amusingly named called Scrot. And you can install it via sudo apt-get install Scrot. I've already done it on here, so I'm not going to do it again. But if you look up SCROT, that is the program. I'm going to make this a little smaller again. It's always so tiny on this screen is the thing. Let's do that again a few more times. Big, 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 big. Okay, yeah, so Scrot. And there's a few extra options that make this super useful. So for example, there's a delay function. So if I say Scrot, it just takes a screenshot. In fact, let me look at my current. Yeah, okay. So if I go Scrot, takes a screenshot, brings me back here, and there's my screenshot. And I can change the file name. I'm not going to mess with around with that right now. In fact, I think I could just be like Scrot shot.png. Does that work? Yeah, okay. You can just put the file name after the Scrot command. And then if I wanted to say like focus on another window or something, then I can do a delay of 5 seconds, and that gives me a 5-second delay. But if you add the C flag as well, that gives you a countdown. So Scrot-CD5, that's a delay and a countdown of 5 seconds. It gives you this little countdown so you can like bring whatever into focus, arrange everything all nicely, and then there you go. And now I have another screenshot file. The next thing, let's see. There are other things you can do, like you can create an alias command that lives in your .bash aliases file. I won't go into that, but I think I might make another tutorial about it. And there's all these options. If you type manscrot, you will. I'm sorry. You will get all the available options for it, which is great. And one thing that I love about this manual page actually is that if you have any questions about it or issues, email bugs and feature requests to scrotsucks@linuxbrit.co.uk. That is the most British thing ever. It's fantastic. So Scrot is the screenshot utility that I like. It's pretty useful. And you can also, oh yeah, there's another one. So supposing that I have, for example, a file manager window open. There's some other cool things on here too. Like Pis these days come with all kinds of cool stuff installed. When you download the new images off of the site, you get Wolfram, the environment, you get Wolfram Mathematica, which is like a programming language that does all kinds of cool stuff. You get Sonic Pi that lets you do music, which is really cool, and I want to go through their examples. They seem to have a lot of cool tutorials that will really help you along with that. And there's this browser, of course. Yeah, and then so if you say scrot-s, basically that waits until you click on another window and then takes a picture of that active window, which is super cool. If you want to configure your different things on your Pi, I actually meant to put this in the other video, but I forgot. There's a couple of different ways to access the configuration menu. So if you're plugging stuff in to do sound, they're like, I think on some of them, especially, I don't know if there's an old thing or a new thing, but it'll automatically try to put sound over HDMI and not through the audio out, which is super weird. So you can change all the kinds of stuff about that, like serial camera, if you have a camera enabled or not, but especially if you want to SSH into your Pi so that you can control it remotely, then you'll need to manually enable SSH. For all new versions of Raspberry Pi OSs, this is the case. SSH is disabled by default as a security measure. It's just a slight change because now they're shipping with wireless capabilities, which means that you don't have to, physically plug something in and really intentionally allow access to the internet to your Pi. Since it's now pretty easy to do, they want to make that a little harder. So that as like a security feature. And you can also access the config menu from the, what is it? Raspberry config or something like that. Yeah, there we go. You can also do it through the command line. You've got network options. You've also got your, interfacing options, which is where your SSH enabling and disabling is going to be. It's basically the same as that visual interface that we had a second ago, except that this one can be accessed whether or not you're booting into this graphical interface when you boot. That's another option. You can either have it boot to this beautiful visual graphical interface, or you can have it boot just straight to the command line, and that would save you some extra processing power or whatever if you want to run it in headless mode. Okay. Pardon. So we've talked about the USB HDMI dongle, we've talked about Scrot, which is great, and here are all my beautiful screenshots. You can look at those. The last one should be of just, this file window, because remember that I clicked on that one in order to take the screenshot of just that window. That's what that -s flag does in Scrot. And there was one other thing, which is, if you are messing around with Sonic Pi or other audio thingies, get yourself a USB sound card. Don't be foolish like me and try to do audio stuff forever without an actual good USB audio interface. So I was building a voice assistant with Matrix, the Matrix voice board. Their creator board is also a big, oh yeah, this guy. They've got some cool boards for that, but I was having a lot of trouble getting the audio to sound nice and to pick up my voice and stuff. And so this is what you want. You want a USB sound card. Comes with its own little extension cord. This one is from Sabrent. I noticed when I was looking up the link for this USB sound card that someone has put out a video saying you should not use a USB sound card. You should use a sound adapter. And I'm not sure what the difference is. This is what I have. It's working pretty well. If you have issues with this, you should probably look up that YouTube video. But that is my third and final tip for you, is a USB sound card to make it much easier. You've got the pink is for a microphone. It's got a little icon of microphone. The green is for sound out. You've got, whatever. You can also use a USB mic, such as the blue snowball mic. That works just great. But yeah, if you're having issues with getting like lag, like delayed audio out, that can be a huge thing, and it's really annoying. So yeah, messing around with that, USB sound cards, good. There's one final cool thing that I want to show you, which is that I made this shutdown and restart button. Let me see if I can just push it. This is like the tutorial that I used this stuff for. I think I took some screenshots and put them in here. Yeah, I took a screen recording with QuickTime and the USB to HDMI capture device, so you can see how nice it really is. And to test that, I made this little board that has a button on it. And if I push this, oh no, you're not gonna be able to see it. Oh. Anyway, well, I just pushed it and it's restarting now. So you get to see the boot process, I guess. Not quite as magical of an experience as if I had that up to start with. But then I can restart it again. No, I should probably let this poor thing have a rest. But rest assured that the script that is in this tutorial, which is called Raspberry Pi Shutdown Button, will enable you to create your own little pair of buttons that that tell the Pi to do different things. So what I'd like to do with this is like make a couple buttons that take screenshots, for example. That would make my life a lot easier in making tutorials. Then I wouldn't even have to have the terminal window open. I wouldn't have to change up my workflow in order to take screenshots. I'd just be able to do it with hotkeys like on a Mac. Only they would be like a big red button that I can smack on, you know? All kinds of cool stuff. I hope this has been really useful for you. It's stuff that I sort of learned the hard way, picked up over months and months of trying to do this stuff in a way that looked pretty and not horrible. So once again, USB capture to HDMI device by Magewell. It's glitching out a little bit when I wiggle the cable, that's okay. USB sound card. Scrot is the utility for screenshots. And then finally, you can build your own buttons to do cool stuff. And that tutorial is here. The Raspberry Pi shutdown/restart button. And anything that you can tell the Pi to do in the command line, you can tell it to do with a button. That's basically what this tutorial does. Alright, I hope that helps. Have an awesome rest of your Pi day, and we will see you tomorrow for Throwback Thursday. Have a great rest of your day. Ciao.